How are you, Jake? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Good to meet you. Finally, I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah,
I'm happy.
it's really good to see you.
Good morning, by the
So,
way.
this is my friend Enric, and this is the first time that we have ever actually spoken to each other in person.
Man, thank you so much for agreeing to hop on and
And
chat.
by in person, of course, I mean on a Zoom call at 8 a.m. my time and 5 p.m. his time. And though this is the first time we've actually spoken, we do share something that is very special to both of us.
Salida managas comporti. Half-cooked meals and instant coffee.
And before I tell you this story, I want to tell you this story about a show and a tour which marks one of the lonelier periods of my life.
Is this what I left home for?
So in January of 2023, I was opening a show at a small venue in Portland called the White Eagle. And that night, I was kicking things off for another band, and I was playing a solo set of all my singer-songwriter tunes. And I sit on the stage with my acoustic guitar, and as I'm playing, the bar is starting to fill up, the venue is starting to fill up, and it's filling up with a lot of people who are not there to see me play. And it's noisy, and it's getting more and more crowded. And as I'm playing, I notice that there's a couple people who are sitting and listening very intently. And one of those people was a gentleman to my left, sitting at the table right next to the stage. And I noticed that he's pretty locked in. And so I finish my set and I go outside, and I'm hanging outside for a breath of fresh air. And this gentleman comes up to me and he says, "Man, I really loved your set." And we chatted for a little while, and I went home that night and I thought about how important it is in a room filled with people who probably don't care or don't have a reason to care or are there for something else entirely. How important it is to play to the people who are listening, because there will be at least one person listening that will really enjoy the performance. And I thought a lot about that moment when I left for tour. I don't care what they say. Touring is hard. Being on the road is hard. Traveling is hard. You are away from your friends and your family. You're away from all the comforts of home, and it can be really exciting, and it can be really wonderful, and it can be also really challenging to be in a different place all the time, to be away from all the people that you care about. You're constantly eating like crap. It's hard to exercise. It can be hard to sleep. You're in a new place all the time. It can be really, really destabilizing. And for the weeks after, while I was on tour, down through California and LA and through the Southwest, I felt really, really alone. I had recently gone through a breakup, and I was taking this tour and this travel time as a way to clear my head and think about where I wanted to be and what I wanted to do with my life, and if Portland was the right place for me or if I wanted to live somewhere else. And I had a lot of questions, and I felt really lost, and I felt really scared, and I put that all into a song. I wrote a song called Instant Coffee, and the next day I went out into my friend Mike's driveway, the home where I had been staying for my tour and my tour dates in San Francisco, and I made a video and I played the song.
Coffee outside the gas station store.
And I poured out all of my fears and my worries and my loneliness. And much to my surprise, a lot of people listened to it. And people found that video, and I think it resonated with a lot of people. And I know that it resonated with one person in particular. So my song, Instant Coffee, reached Enric all the way in Spain.
Yeah, I remember that evening vividly because it was a Friday night. I was watching YouTube as I usually do. Your video showed up in the recommendations. It touched me. You said lots of things that I could really relate to after what I was going through, especially.
And he was so moved by it that he wrote his own version of the song. And he reached out to me in an email, and he told me that he had listened to it, that he had been moved to write a version of his own, borrowing some of the chords, borrowing a little bit of the melody and some of the ideas, and he transformed it into his own song.
Salida mana que es comporti, així com tots li hem ensenyat. Respecti l'altre.
And he asked me if his band could release the song, and I said absolutely, of course. And I was so moved, I was so touched that not only had my song reached somebody and made them feel something, but also that they would be moved to create some art and something meaningful of their own from it. See, when I wrote that line in the song that says, if you hear this song, know that I'm feeling like I'm doing it all wrong. Know that most nights I want to cry. You know, I thought I was talking to the person that I had left, but I realized that I was talking to anyone who was also feeling that way. I've gotten a lot of messages about the song and about how it's reached people and that it's been meaningful to people who have felt the same way. You know, I think that there's a lot to be said for admitting that you're afraid and you don't know what's going to happen and that you're a little terrified. But I think that when you speak from the heart, it resonates. And as Enric and I were talking, he told me not only did his band record the song and they continue to play the song live, but that often in their set, they put all the instruments away, and they grab acoustic guitars and they walk down onto the floor and they play the song raw and stripped down. And that recently they had a show where everybody started singing along. And I was just so moved to know that my song continues to live through those performances and can inspire other people through Enric's interpretation of it. And if I've learned anything from all of this, it is that the world, the internet, but largely the world, is a crowded bar, and it's going to be filled with people who are there for some other reason. But there will be one person listening, and if that person is inspired to make something, then maybe it reaches somebody else, and maybe that reaches somebody else. And that's the power of writing songs and making art.
And if you hear this song, know that your memory, it surely isn't gone. Know that I'm thinking of you each and every dawn. Know that most nights I lie awake, I toss and turn because I hate to think that you're hurting, 'cause you're missing